Hello everybody, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings The Third Age walkthrough. I've got a couple battles here. I think this is 3 battles in a row of where I just took a break. Took a break here to do a little bit of leveling, and I ran into a couple of different trolls. So the interesting thing about this is that I actually get credit, quest credit for these random trolls. So you'll see here, and I wanted to make sure that I, got the footage of these. Anyways, where you would normally finish these, the quest at for killing all the trolls, the 9 trolls of Moria, we will not complete it like we would normally. Again, because we kill the trolls, or kill a couple of trolls early, and they give us quest credit for those. Does it affect anything in the game? No, not a bit. Just essentially when you get your bonus experience for completing that quest. So again, that is why I've got this footage here. As far as these, I think these battles are all the exact same. It's one troll and then one of those, one of the caster mobs, whatever those guys were called. But anyways, nothing fancy with these guys. Just use you can use crippling shots on the trolls. They cannot be slept, as well as the casters. The casters cannot be slept either. The trolls can be paralyzed, or you can use paralyzing shot, I should say, if you've got it with Elagast. As well as any type of crippling, either crippling shot or crippling blow will work on both of those. I don't believe the trolls can be stunned, but I think the casters can, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I've actually taken this footage, unfortunately, so I'm getting a little rusty. But yeah, other than that, these guys make okay opportunities, I guess, to level up your skills. They just have a ton of health, so they just last a little bit longer than obviously the goblins in the area. So if you want, you could certainly, I don't know, I guess I haven't brought this up before, but one of the techniques that you can use to kind of get more skills off in any given fight would be to switch your weapon to a weaker one. And that's actually kind of one neat thing that they added, in the, excuse me, in the menu, is that, you can actually switch your weapons mid-combat. So, if it I guess if you end up in a fight where you're like, oh, hey, this could be a good spot to learn some skills, you can definitely take advantage of that. Obviously, with things like crippling shot, if you can spam those over and over and not do as much damage, the fight will be drawn out. And here I wanted to take a little bit of time just to use, well, that didn't last long, to use War Cry. I've done some kind of testing, I suppose, with Warcry lately, and I don't know if I brought this up in one of the other videos or not. I'm pretty sure I did, but it seems to me, not only is it, oh, there you go. So defeated troll 7 of 9. So that's the first one here, and you can see this is the area that I'm in. This is technically a little bit farther back from the last save point and the getting the helmet for Adhod. But anyways, here's the second of 3 fights. Again, this is the exact same fight. There's nothing different from the previous fight, as well as the next one coming up won't be any different either. They all end up being, if you fight in this area, there's a couple of different enemy formations, I would say, here. But this is the one that has the troll in it, and I believe farther on in Moria there is another area where you can fight single trolls all by themselves, but I guess I didn't hang out there as much, and I kind of just picked this spot to do my leveling. Not necessarily leveling, it was more, I guess, skill leveling. I wanted to finish up crafting, and I believe I got that all done here. But anyways, I feel like I was in the mid conversation, and then I switched Which topics? Ah, yes, farming skill points. So, you know, again, you can use different weapons to not hit as hard, and that will obviously make the battles last a little bit longer, and allow you to farm skill points a little bit better. And that's not a bad idea, especially if you don't have like arrows of sleep yet. That's a huge skill to know right now. Or I should say it's a huge skill to learn early that really comes in handy. Paralyzing shot's another really good one. Just but you only gotta know that only is really gonna affect the melee enemies, and there's plenty of those. But there's also, you know, a lot of non-melee enemies as well. There's you know, none of the like goblin archers will be affected by that. As well as the casters as well, you know. So there's, I guess I feel that paralyzing shot is much more limiting than sleep arrow is. Sleep arrow tends to not work against casters, but it usually affects the other melee as well as I guess ranged archer type enemies. Alright. Learned sublimine. Sebelmine? Sebelmine. I don't know. I don't know what that word is. Anyways, that's kind of it's an okay item. I believe that's the one that doubles your health in a fight. Which, I don't know, it's tough to say whether or not that item really comes in handy. There's an effect later on that from an elf stone that will give us an ability that essentially does the same thing. I don't know if it stacks though. I guess I've never actually tried that. So technically, you could end up, if it does stack. And again, I'm not 100% sure on that or not. I'll have to do some testing. But if it does, boy, you could end up with a lot of health. But anyways, that one doubles, yeah, so it doubles your health, I believe, for the duration of the battle. And then there's another item called mushrooms, and that doubles your AP for the battle. In all honesty, for items like that, 90% of the fights in the game are not going to merit, you know, use of those. But it is nice for some of the boss fights. You know, you're gonna have a bigger health pool to work with. Alright, so there's troll 8 of 9, and I have the final quest troll right here, and this fight should go a little bit faster. Just looking at my footage here, it looks like I crapped on these guys pretty fast. It's early. It's earlier, I should say. It's late at night, so I'm getting a little tired, and things that aren't normally funny are a little more funny. Alright. Company might. Very nice. And like I said, like I've said before, I should say, is that it looks like right around this time is where I started getting my buff order down. Yeah, alright, so using Company Might before Company Grace, or sorry, Fellowship Grace is usually a good idea. You're just going to be more efficient with the AP you gain back, because unfortunately, Fellowship Grace does fall off eventually. So, you know, you only have so many turns that it's active, so you might as well cast Fellowship Might beforehand, so you can get more, or it'll be more effective for your Fellowship Grace. Looks like I remember I crafted up just a ton of old Toby, and this stuff is, I mean, in all honesty, that's probably the best item that you can craft. Yeah, I'll say that it's the best. Reason being is I used more old Toby than any other item in the game, and by a long shot. Now that I've basically gone through the game again, So yeah, there's only like once or twice where I used subliminal or whatever pedals, and I think I used them for the fight here at the end of Moria, but I can't remember 100%. So, but that was like it. That was the only time I ever used them. So, unfortunately, they don't feel like they do that much good. Which is kind of lame since it takes so many crafts to actually make them. It's really unfortunate. I feel like for those anyway, they could have really cut down the amount of crafts that you need to actually make them. Because again, I don't know. To me, they just didn't feel like they were that useful. Even on hard mode, you know? Alright, so here we go. And I actually have after this, so what I did here, I had to make a cut of actually, or I should say, I had to cut in new footage. And there you go, there's the final troll, and there's our bonus experience. So normally, like I said, we would get that farther on down the road, but that was not the way it went. So anyways, the first time I went through this, this is not my original playthrough, this footage right here, and it's just for the end of this video, but what happened here was my capture card stopped working on me, and I had already saved past this point, so I lost this little bit of footage. But now again, I made a new game, or I was doing another playthrough, and so I just spliced in this footage here so that you would, or you know, so that you guys could know exactly what's going on here. I kind of tried like running back, but you know, it just didn't come off with the same feel, I guess. So I don't know what skills I have here in comparison to the other one, but boom, 46,000 load water here. I did my stats just a little bit different in this one, and I actually went hardcore spirit with almost everybody right away. I barely put any points into anything else. In fact, I don't think I did put any points into anything else. It was all straight spirit. And at the end of the game, you get an option, or the very last evil mode in the game gives you a set of elf stones, and one of them is just crazy. It's called the Ancient Elf Stone of Spirit Enhancement, and it increases the damage on your spells by, I don't even know how much. It's, gosh, it's got to be a lot. Well, I know it's a lot. I guess I don't know the exact numbers. If I could guess, I'd say it's more than tenfold. So like, if your spell was going to do, you know, we'll say in this case like 1,000 damage, I would say that it's going to do 10k. So I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it makes it, you know, even if any of your characters are casters at all, Hadhod and obviously Idril are the ones that really shine right off the bat, and it's just nuts. It's just crazy. It ends up being really, there you go. There's True Shot with that's the same thing. So True Shot goes off of I believe it's your strength and your spirit. And I have Elagos with one of those spirit enhancement elf stones as well. So you can see now he's doing 60k at this point in the game, which is absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, we've got some gear here that we need to toss on. Rohan Steel Longsword. That thing is kind of junky, but it's better than what she's got. What else did we get here? I thought we got something else. Maybe not. Alright. Oh, okay, I was checking on what passives I was currently learning. And on this playthrough, I did a better job at keeping track of my passives. I was not wild about the order that I got passives in my previous playthrough, so again, learn from my own mistakes, or my own, I don't know if I'd say laziness, but it was more inattentiveness, I suppose. Alright, and here you've got, looks like three dual-wielding stunning dudes, which are never fun. But that's sleep volley for you. And that's the reason why you want to get Elagos down to sleep volley as fast as you can. Because that is just crazy. And Hadhad is unfortunately stunned because he... Well, one of the little stunning dudes got a stun off before I was able to get a turn with Barathor. Which, you know, is much less disastrous when you've got an Elagos with sleep volley, because as soon as Elagos gets his turn, everything is sleeping. Or at least anything that's vulnerable to it and doesn't miss. Boom. Alright. I'm totally abusing True Shot right now, and it's so ridiculous how much damage that does. So again, that's the after you've beat the game, you'll have access to those Spirit Stones, and that's, I don't know if I'd say it makes the game any more fun, because I don't think it really does. I think at that point it's like, what? This is ridiculous. But I guess it's still pretty cool. It's kind of fun to see that kind of damage. One of the other things actually I wanted to bring up, I noticed when I was playing here, I got War Call really early on Barathor, and Hadhad for a little bit there was using Flaming Fury, and that was actually pretty awesome.
What would be in the sarcophagus?
It is the last of my kin, if you must know. Tomb guards! It's an ambush!
It's an ambush. Alright, so anyways. So at first he was using Flaming Fury, but now he's back to using attack, and that's... again, now I don't know if that's got something to do with level. It almost has to. That's the only thing I can really think of. At the end of my game, on my last playthrough, Elagos was using True Shot, and it seemed to me at the beginning of the game now he was using Aimed Shot, and then now, like midway, well, yeah, I guess I'd say midway through the game, he's using Draining Shot. So again, I feel like there must be a level component in there, and it's not just, well, as long as you have, like, you know, I don't think they're programmed for something like, well, you know, as long as you've got this skill, they use this, because obviously Elagos has True Shot already, and he's not using it for War Call. So again, there's almost got to be a level component, as well as, you know, the character actually has to know the skill though too. So it's a little bit of both. Anyways, got some more equipment here for Idril, as well as a new bow for Elagos. That's pretty decent if I remember right. Alright. It was kind of goofy. It felt like Idril got those pair of silver boots, and then she got the gold ones almost right after. Kind of strange. Anyways. Yeah, there you go. So you can see I went heavy spirit on a lot of these characters right away. On this playthrough anyway. Now, this is the only footage though of this particular playthrough that I took. And again, that was because I lost, you know, the old footage. So don't expect to see these crazy Loudwater Furies at 48k and stuff from this point on. Or I should say after this video. It'll be toned way down for the rest of the playthrough. Same with True Shot. True Shot I really didn't use until much later on, which is, well, I can't say that. I think I think I may use it one more time here at the end of Moria. In the final fight. But I didn't use it a whole lot. Again, honestly, Elagast is so useful for his Arrows of Sleep that's how I start out almost every single fight. Yeah, 40k. It looks so pretty right now, but it just doesn't last very long. That's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Ooh, I think True Shot is my most damaging ability right now. And actually, that very well may stay that way the entire game. The other cool thing about True Shot is it never misses. It's pretty crazy, actually. I think the reason why they tuned up the damage on it so much is just because he doesn't have any multi-combo moves. Which, you know, is okay. I think it's cool. True Shot. Or, sorry, Goblin Air. Wow, that was... oh, wow, if the enemies could use True Shot, I'd be in trouble. Anyways. Alright, let's see what War Call reveals. Yep. Now it's back to using his regular attack, which is super lame. And there's the draining attack from Elagast. My characters are in the 20s, like probably 24, 25, somewhere around there. So there's a reference for the for when they're using their skills. I kind of want to know now when it is exactly that they switch over to new skills. I guess I could I don't know. I could try to use War Call all the time and just see, you know, at what levels their abilities change, but I think the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim. Yeah, and I've really pumped up Hadhod's spirit here, and it's just, in all honesty, he's never gonna come close. I shouldn't say that. He does just fine. He does really well, actually, when it comes to his spirit powers. But Israel gets a passive that boosts the damage on her spirit powers, so it's just an unfair comparison. I mean, she's literally the only one that gets, you know, a passive like that. And again, it's kind of unfortunate for everybody else because, I mean, literally everybody else can get spirit powers in one form or another. Some of them naturally, some of them not. But you know, again, I guess it is what it is. But anyways, I think she does double Hadhod's damage. But right now she does. But that might be something to do with resistances as well. I'm not sure what these guys have as far as resistances to water as opposed to fire. Something tells me though that these guys are much more resistant to fire than water, but again, I'm not 100% sure on all the resistances on the enemies in this area. And I didn't go around examining every single one just to find out. Back to crafting. Yeah, so hopefully now, from this point on, I really reduce the amount of crafting that I do too. You know, again, unfortunately, with this, or with me losing the footage of this spot, I had all my crafting done essentially. But I guess it was around the time that I finished off the last troll for the quest completion. So again, you know, from this video on, you'll see a lot less crafting. Like, I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen because I know, you know, randomly, I guess if I have an extra turn somewhere, you know, maybe there's a chance that I'd still craft something, but none of this, like, you know, every single one of Barathor's turns probably this combat and this fight's been cracking, so. Alright, let's end this with a bang. Boom. That's so cheap. So, you know, that's one other great thing about spamming crippling shot over and over is that Elagast learns true shot really, really early then. Alright, what do we have here? A little treasure chest hanging out in the middle of nowhere with some lame king's foil in it. Alright, I think normally this would be trolls. Would this be trolls 7 and 8? And then you'd fight the final one a little bit later? I don't know. I kind of lose track of where we should actually be at as far as killing trolls, but anyhow, this would, like I said, this would normally be 2 of them for you. Same tactics apply. I'd suggest using paralyzing shot on one right off the bat, and then I guess you could cripple the other one, you know, with Hadhod, if you've got it. And then there you go. There's one final interesting thing. So cleaving wound, the actual damage over time, that's calculated off of your spirit stat. So, and that takes into account any of your spirit enhancement elf stones. So there you can see the damage on that was just nuts. 5k for a cleaving wound, like damage over time tick is nuts. Anyways, I'm gonna cut this video here. So I hope these guys are helpful though, and keep watching. And thanks for joining me.